Nestled in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, the Emerald City beckons with promises of a rich cultural scene, stunning landscapes, and endless possibilities. But as we explore the pros and cons of living in Seattle, we'll uncover both the glimmers of its cosmopolitan charm and the challenges that come with its dynamic urban landscape. Today, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of what it's really like to live in Seattle. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited that you could join me today. My name is Ashley and I'm a realtor covering King and Pierce counties here in Washington State. I'm here to answer any and all questions that you may have about living here in the Evergreen State. My information is in the description box down below. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and be sure to hit that notification bell so that every time I post a video, you'll know. All right, so today we're going to dive into the pros and cons of living in Seattle. Now, although I was not born here, I lived in Seattle for 9.5 years before I moved out to the suburbs a few years ago. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what it's like to live in Seattle. I lived in all different neighborhoods and things like that. Stay tuned for an upcoming video on that specifically. But yeah, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what it's like to live in Seattle. And so I want to give you some insight if you're thinking about moving here. But first, let's talk about Seattle's history. Seattle's history dates back to the indigenous peoples who have inhabited the region for thousands of years. The Duwamish and Suquamish tribes were among the native groups living in the area when European settlers arrived. In 1851, the first European American settlers arrived in what is now Seattle. They were led by Arthur A. Denny, one of the city's founding fathers, and they established a settlement called New York Alki on the western shore of Elliott Bay. The name was soon changed to an English-adapted name of Seattle. The town of Seattle was named after a prominent leader among the indigenous Duwamish and Suquamish tribes that inhabited the region. Chief Sealch was a respected Native American leader, diplomat, and orator. The decision to name the settlement after Chief Seattle was a gesture of recognition and respect for the indigenous people in the area. Seattle was officially incorporated as a town on January 14, 1865. This leads me into our first pro, which is the rich cultural scene in Seattle. Seattle is not just the birthplace of grunge, it's a cultural wonderland for museums, theaters, and music venues. Some awesome museums in Seattle are the Burke Museum of Natural History, MoPop, or the Museum of Pop Culture, the Pacific Science Center, the Museum of Flight, and Chihuly Garden and Glass, to name a few. I took my mom to see the cool glass sculptures in Chihuly Garden and Glass a few years ago, and she absolutely loved it. There are also many theaters for watching great plays, such as McCaw Hall and Paramount Theater. There are also many music performance venues to attend shows and concerts to choose from, such as Neumos, the Triple Door, and Lumen Field. There's also the acclaimed Seattle Opera and the Pacific Northwest Ballet. There are also many different cultural festivals that are held in Seattle annually. One of the most popular is Seafair, which is held in August, and there are many other different festivals held at Seattle Center, which is the park center where the Space Needle is located. Some of these festivals include the Irish Festival, the French Festival, Seattle Cherry Blossom, the Japanese Festival, Seattle Pride Festival, Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Spirit of Africa, and one of my favorites is the Northwest Folklife Festival. There's also a Capitol Hill Block Party yearly and a Bumper Shoot Festival in which many big-name music artists perform. Now, the second pro in Seattle that I'll talk about is the booming tech industry. If you're in tech, Seattle is like Disneyland for software engineers. Seattle's booming tech industry is primarily driven by the presence of all these big tech giants and a thriving startup ecosystem. The city is home to some of the most influential and globally recognized tech companies, contributing significantly to its reputation as a tech hub. Some of the major tech companies in Seattle are Amazon, Microsoft, Expedia Group, and Tableau Software. Some of the types of jobs you can get are software engineer, web development, mobile app development, cloud computing, and product management. Seattle's tech industry offers a wide range of jobs, making it a very attractive destination for those tech professionals that are looking for a challenging and rewarding career. The third pro of living in Seattle is the beautiful natural surroundings. We have the Puget Sound on one side, mountains on the other side. It's literally like living in a postcard. Seattle and the Pacific Northwest in general is characterized by the presence of evergreen trees due to its temperate rainforest climate and diverse ecosystems. These trees not only define the natural landscape, but also contribute to the region's unique and scenic beauty. There are many options for outdoor activities during the summer months, such as kayaking, hiking, nature walks, boating, and island hopping. Some popular hiking trails that people like to hike and take scenic walks on in the Seattle area during the summer are Discovery Park, Lake 22, Burke-Gilman Trail, Lincoln Park, Seward Park, and Mount Si. There are many islands around the Seattle area also that you can go to continue to enjoy the outdoor activities. You can get there some by car, some by ferry only. There's typically a ferry that leaves once every hour or so from Seattle, and also other just areas where you can catch ferries so that you can go visit the other islands. Be sure to check out Bremerton, Vashon Island, Bainbridge Island, Whidbey Island, and the Olympic Peninsula. We are also only about a 5-hour drive from the Canadian border near Victoria and Vancouver, Canada. There's no shortage of places to visit here in the Pacific Northwest. All right, now my fourth pro is going to be public transportation. I would dare to say that you can get most places in the Seattle area using public transportation. You can use the King County Transit buses, the Link Light Rail, water taxis, ferries, the monorail, the Sounder, and streetcars. According to Smart Growth USA, Seattle was ranked the number 4 most walkable city in the U.S. behind New York City, Boston, and Washington, D.C. So your opinion of our public transportation system is highly going to depend on where you're coming from. Now, if you're coming from Washington, D.C. or New York or something like that, you're probably going to laugh at our public transportation system. But if you're coming from the Midwest or the Southwest, which is where I'm from, there is a few buses, but they're extremely unreliable, and you might not get picked up. Now, the public transportation system here, it's not perfect by any means. A lot of people are like, oh, it still needs to be improved, but to me, it was gold. I moved here without a car. I lived here for the first 6 months without a car, and I got around just fine. You get your bus pass. You make sure you use your apps like One Bus Away to plan your trip, and so you know which buses to take and things like that, and you can get around. So I would say that you can definitely live in Seattle without a car if you don't need it to go elsewhere, if you really don't want to go exploring elsewhere. And there's other options to go exploring other places as well. So, all right, now my fifth and final pro is the diverse culinary scene. Seattle has a diverse and vibrant culinary scene which reflects the city's multicultural influences. Seattle has a strong commitment to using local and sustainable ingredients and using innovative chefs. Here are some aspects of Seattle's diverse culinary landscape. Seattle is a seafood paradise. Located near the Pacific Ocean and surrounded by bodies of water like Puget Sound, Seattle is a seafood lover's paradise. Fresh catches from the sea include salmon, Dungeness crab, clams, and oysters, and are prominently featured in many local dishes. Seattle's proximity to fertile farmland has fueled the farm-to-table movement. Many restaurants prioritize sourcing ingredients locally, emphasizing freshness and supporting regional farmers. Farmers markets are popular, offering a direct connection between producers and consumers. Seattle is synonymous with coffee culture. The city is home to global coffee giant Starbucks, and numerous independent coffee shops and roasters contribute to a thriving coffee scene. Visitors can experience a wide range of coffee styles and brewing methods. Seattle's diverse population is reflected in its international cuisine. Neighborhoods like Capitol Hill, Chinatown, International District, and Ballard offer a rich tapestry of global flavors. From authentic dim sum to Ethiopian injera, there's a world of culinary exploration in the city. Seattle's streets are lined with food trucks and street vendors offering an array of delicious and innovative dishes. Food truck pods and outdoor markets provide a casual and dynamic dining experience featuring everything from gourmet hot dogs to fusion tacos. The craft beer and spirit scene in Seattle is thriving. The city is home to a plethora of breweries, cideries, and distilleries, each with its own unique offerings. tours and tastings are popular activities for locals and visitors alike. Overall, Seattle's culinary scene is characterized by its emphasis on quality, sustainability, and creativity. The thing about Seattle is that they're all about supporting local businesses, so you're not going to find many restaurant chains in Seattle. Now, you'll see Wendy's and McDonald's and things like that because I feel like there's just no getting away from those, but you're not going to see Applebee's or Chili's or anything like that. You'll have to drive out further for that, and I don't even think there is a Chili's in Washington from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen a Chili's. Definitely have seen Applebee's, seen Red Robin when you go further out, but in Seattle specifically, you're not gonna find any of those types of chain restaurants. Some of my favorite restaurants in Seattle are Lost Lake, Poquitos, Skillet Diner, Bar Vacilando, Deluxe Bar and Grill, The Point, La Cocina Oaxaqueña, The Patio Fine Thai Cuisine, Taco City Taqueria, and Americana. And there are many more restaurants, just endless amounts of restaurants that you'll find. Whatever you're craving, you'll find it. The first con is cost of living. The cost of living in Seattle is very high. Seattle's cost of living is 45% higher than the national average, and Seattle's housing is 112% higher than the national average. Now, the only somewhat silver lining to this cost of living issue is that we do get paid more per hour. According to the Business Insider, in the third quarter of 2023, workers relocating to Seattle enjoyed an impressive 15% increase in their median paycheck year over year, the highest among the 26 major metropolitan cities tracked. So the cost of living is higher, but you do get paid higher. So you do start to get used to that after a while, and we don't have state income tax. So there you go. Con number 2, traffic congestion. There can be a lot of traffic buildup in the Seattle area, and here's a few reasons why. Seattle's population has been steadily increasing in recent years, leading to more vehicles on the road. The city's booming tech industry and job opportunities have attracted residents from across the country and around the world, making traffic congestion worse. Seattle's geography, with its waterways and hills, limits the availability of roadways and makes it challenging to expand transportation infrastructure. As a result, the existing road network can become overwhelmed during periods of high traffic volume. Seattle's ongoing development and infrastructure projects, including road construction and maintenance, can lead to temporary lane closures and detours, adding to traffic delays. Inclement weather such as rain and snow can impact traffic flow and decrease visibility, leading to slower travel times and increased congestion. Efforts to address Seattle's traffic congestion include investments in public transportation, expansion of light rail, and bus rapid transit systems, and initiatives to promote carpooling and ride sharing. Addressing the city's traffic challenges remains an ongoing priority for transportation planners and policymakers. All right, now my con number 3 is the rain and overcast weather. It is overcast a lot here. It doesn't rain every day, but it is overcast a lot, so that is something to heavily consider before moving here. If you can't withstand close to 200 days without direct sunlight, this might not be the place for you. And yes, it does rain here, but it's mostly misty, kind of rainforest rain. We don't really get heavy downpours. Sometimes we do, for sure. Sometimes it's like you do need an umbrella, but for the most part, it's just kind of misty and everything. And honestly, it's mostly just overcast and dry most of the time. It doesn't rain as much as some other cities in the US, believe it or not. So Seattle does see some snow. Sometimes. It's definitely not every single year, but we do get snow. And when that does happen, the ice tends to freeze over. And because of all the hills and the way that Seattle is formulated, everything pretty much shuts down when it snows because public transportation can't safely run on the hills with ice, and it's not safe to drive if there's a bunch of ice everywhere. Now, I will say in the almost 11 years that I've lived in Washington State, the sun has been coming out more and more and earlier in the year. Just this past August, I mean, the highest temperature got up to 95 degrees, and it is very humid here. A lot of people who are from here will tell you it's not humid, but I look every day at the weather when I'm here, and I mean, I've seen anywhere from 70 to 90% humidity on any given day. So it's pretty humid here, and it doesn't have to be that hot temperature-wise to feel hot because of all the trees and the water and everything. It feels pretty hot during the summer. So the weather here could be a pro or a con, just depending on what type of weather you like. I highly recommend coming to visit us in November, December, or January and stay for at least a week so you can see if you can handle the gray. My fourth con is homelessness and affordability. Now, on a more serious note, Seattle is grappling with homelessness and affordability. It's definitely a challenge for the city, and here's why. Seattle has experienced a significant increase in housing costs in recent years, contributing to affordability challenges. The booming tech industry and population growth have driven up demand for housing, leading to higher rents and home prices. This escalation has made it difficult for many residents, particularly those with lower incomes, to afford stable housing. The homelessness crisis Seattle faces, with a visible population of individuals living on the streets, in tents and in makeshift shelters. There are many causes of the homelessness crisis in Seattle and include factors such as job loss, mental health issues, addiction, and lack of affordable housing. The city has implemented various initiatives to address homelessness, including shelter programs, outreach services, and efforts to provide supportive housing. Gentrification in certain neighborhoods has contributed to an affordability gap, as lower income residents may be displaced by wealthier individuals moving in and revitalizing the area. The economic disparities and limited affordable housing options exacerbate the challenges faced by vulnerable populations, leading to increased homelessness. Efforts to tackle homelessness and affordability in Seattle involve collaborations between government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and the private sector. Initiatives include the development of affordable housing units, support services for those experiencing homelessness, and policy measures aimed at addressing the root causes of the housing crisis. Despite ongoing efforts, this is a very complex situation, and it requires a comprehensive and sustained approach to create meaningful change. And my fifth and last con is crime rates. So is Seattle a safe place to live? The answer is not that straightforward. Seattle has mixed letter grades and shades of colors and things like that, just depending on what area you live in. So no matter what city in Washington you're going to be moving to, you always want to make sure to do your homework and check out the crime statistics for your area. So there you have it, the pros and cons of living in Seattle. Every city has its quirks. What's your take on Seattle? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, everyone, so that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something about Seattle that you didn't know before, and I hope that it helped you. If you have any questions, you're going to be moving to Seattle, I would love to help you. My information is in the description box down below. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.